Welcome to another episode of Boom or Bust, your home for NFL Draft Talk. I'm your host, Terry, and we got more quarterbacks as we look at the next tier of quarterbacks for the 2018 draft. That would be Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Baker Mayfield. If you didn't get a chance to check out the episode covering Sam Darnold and Josh Rosen, then just go over to the channel. You'll be able to find this, episode 7. Okay, so I've already talked a little bit about what I look for in quarterbacks. If you, again, didn't watch the last episode, the gradable trait that we look at out of 5 is their arm. So their ability to throw with velocity, also their ability to get the ball downfield. A lot of things start with your arm. While some people think that a big arm can be overrated, I think a quarterback's overall ceiling and potential does revolve around what their arm talent is. But let's just get right into it. We got Josh Allen up first. Now, Josh Allen out of Wyoming is the prototypical sized quarterback. He's a big dude. I mean, he's 6'5", almost 6'6". He plays at around 230, 235 to 240. He's a big guy, and that's what you want, that nice, tall, strong quarterback. And he has the arm to boot. So while I talked about Darnold having an elite type arm that is rare to see, I would say it's lightning struck twice. You got Josh Allen, who might have a bigger arm, to be honest with you. His arm's pretty incredible, but the same thing with Darnold that you got with Allen is that they're able to throw from different platforms and still throw with velocity. So whether they're falling back, whether they're, on their tippy toes, whether they're running, whether they're still, they're able to throw. Whether they're getting hit, they're able to put velocity and gas on the ball, and that's rare to see. I mean, we've seen lots of quarterbacks that can throw the ball, but once they're getting hit or they're on the move, the ball goes sailing. And so that's a trait that a lot of quarterbacks don't have, and that's going to be very tantalizing to teams come to draft. However, when you look at Josh Allen, he has really bad mechanics. I mean, from top to bottom. His throwing mechanics are okay, but his lower body mechanics are really terrible. The guy, he just doesn't use his power from his legs at all. And the same thing with Darnold. He's got big arm syndrome really bad. He knows he has a strong arm, and so when he's throwing with all upper body. He's not transferring that torque from his feet and hips to his arms. So that's something that's going to hurt your accuracy. As much as the physics of it would suggest that it helps you get velocity on the throw, and it does, it helps your accuracy as well, because if your body, it's hard to aim an object when you're throwing it at all when your body's not balanced. And when you're not working your feet tied to your upper body. And so I think as a result, there's some people that can do it better than others, and we'll get to one of them later. But for Josh Allen, I don't think he does it well. I think his accuracy really suffers because of his poor mechanics. And then as far as his pocket, I don't like him in the pocket either. He really, either he's standing flat or he's running around, and he escapes really fast. It seems like he wants to throw on the run. He wants to kind of be that play extender, and he's good at it. He can extend the play, move around into something's open, but he does not have any real skills in the pocket. I don't like his ability to manipulate the pocket. It seems like he does not know how to climb with the ball in his hand and then throw it. I mean, there's a couple plays that he did it and he looked good, but most of the time he doesn't do it. And it doesn't seem like he understands the pressure. It seems like whenever he wants to move, he's going to move. And if he is going to move, it's going to be to the outside. He's going to escape outside of the pocket, run to the left or the right, or sometimes backwards. I mean, we've seen too many times him just turning into backyard football, scrambling around, losing yards, and then getting sacked. And that's not what you want in a quarterback. I mean, there's definitely plays where you want to extend it and try to get something, but on the majority of the time, you got to have a quarterback that knows how to keep his water in the pocket. He can throw on the run, of course, with his strength, but his accuracy is off. And I hesitate to say how much he can read the field. A lot of times it looks like he's just running around waiting for somebody to break open. I don't think he's moving, like a route is developing. He's waiting for the receiver to pass through a zone or get past a linebacker, and then they hold the ball, and then deliver it into an open window. I don't think that's what he's doing. From what I can see, it looks like he's just running around waiting for receivers to break off their route and start a scramble drill. And he does that a lot, kind of like a Johnny Manziel. And again, that's not something you want. You want a quarterback to be able to understand where he's going with the ball pre-snap, or if that doesn't work, he needs to know his options. And it doesn't always have to turn into a scramble drill. So that's something definitely that worries me. And, his decision making, I just think overall as a quarterback, he's raw and he needs a lot of refinement. His tools are great because besides his, elite arm, the guy is fast. I mean, he's seriously fast, and he can run. He's got quick feet. And so for a 6'5" quarterback that's 240, now he's not like Cam Newton fast or whatever, but for his size, he can move. And they ran him a lot. Quarterback design runs. He likes to scramble. He likes to go for the goal line. So he's got two dimensions to his game that are going to be absolutely intriguing. But I think overall, the rest of his mechanics are so bad because of his big arm syndrome. So, like I said, I gave him a level 5 arm. I think he's a gamer. I think he loves football. It's just going to see if, they find the right person to correct his mechanics. All right, so let's jump down to Lamar Jackson at Louisville, the Heisman winning Lamar Jackson. And I was surprised by Lamar. So, of course, I think most people that don't even watch college football but watch pros heard about Lamar Jackson. And I seen the highlights from last year, and I saw what he's doing. I'm like, another scramble or another spread fast quarterback. But you can tell his runs were a little different and his speed was a little different and special. But at the end of the day, I'm like, well, he's not a quarterback still at the next level. And then this year we heard that, Lamar heard that criticism. He went to work and he really told the coach he didn't just want to run. He wanted to add that pass into his repertoire. And so I have to give Lamar credit up top. He showed tremendous improvement as a passer from what he was last year. And you got to respect that. I mean, it's typically pretty hard for us to gauge a player's capacity to grow. Even for coaches that meet them and talk to them and talk to their coaches, it's still not very easy to gauge that because that's an important trait. That is a top priority trait is a person's ability to grow. I know people get fixated on skill sets and athleticism, but I'm telling you, if you ever find players that show that they could grow by leaps and bounds, that's something special, and that's something you see a couple people every year have, and that's something you want to keep your eye on because despite their deficiencies, they had a mental makeup. But anyway, looking at his physicals, I mean, we know about the running. I don't really need to stay on that. But the one thing I will say about him as a runner, besides him being extremely fast, he's extremely shifty. And I don't mean LaShawn McCoy, juke, slide. I mean, I'm talking about he'll run right at you. And since he's so thin with his frame, the slightest, shift will just make you miss. And he's completely out of your range now. Now, I think he's definitely got to get bigger to play in the NFL. But if he does, I think he can put on weight without really blowing his frame out. So I think having that frame is really going to be tough to tackle. But getting to his throwing, I like his mechanics. He does have a wind up, and he does have some wasted motion when he's going through his stroke, but that's natural. I think he has that natural kind of almost sidearm throwing mechanics that a lot of quarterbacks have. Now with his lower body, I see that he tries to throw with a base. He tries to convert his power from his base, but his base is so narrow. So if you watch him when he's standing in the pocket, when he's ready to throw, his feet are so close together. They're almost heel to heel. And so when that happens, when you have that narrow base, of course, there's no way you can create any torque from your hips. You can't transfer any power because you're way too narrow. And even if you're not, creating power from the base, you have to be standing firm on the ground to, really plant that power in your feet and then bring it up through your arms. And so if you're standing that narrow and feet that close together, you're not generating a lot of power. And so as a result, I think his velocity can be a little better than he's shown. But, as you see on tape, it's not always there. And then in the pocket, he stands flat. His feet aren't moving. He just stands there if he's going to make a throw. If he needs to escape, then of course he's really fast and he can get out. He's hard to tackle. He's very elusive in the pocket. But, again, his feet aren't moving. He's not looking to climb the pocket. So he has poor pocket manipulation. He doesn't step up to the open space and deliver a throw. If he wants to throw, he's going to go outside of the pocket. He's going to roll out, escape somewhere, and try to make a play. There are times, though, that he'll stand in the pocket and make that throw. He's not scared of contact or anything. If there's a throw and a shot that he wants to take, he'll stand in the pocket and he'll make that throw. So he's not scared. He's a great thrower on the run. I think he throws with great velocity, really good accuracy, actually. And then as far as reading the field, again, he's one of these people that extends the play a little bit, but I think he has shown ability that he will go from 1 to 2 to 3 and look through a progression. It's not just, run around until somebody's open. I do think he's understanding concepts more, and he showed that he can, hit the options, the second, third options when the first one isn't there. As far as his accuracy over the middle over the short and medium, I think it's pretty good. It could be better. It's not always there, but I think it's pretty good. I'm not sure exactly if he'll be able to throw against man coverage. That's one of the real questions I have. In the zone, he showed that he can do it, but when they're playing tight man in the NFL, which they will do, he's got to be a little more accurate with his passes. Now, his deep ball, I think, is great. I think the touch he throws with on the deep pass is excellent. I think he's one of the better deep ball throwers in this draft class. And again, like I said, he puts excellent touch. He puts it where the receiver could catch it, that over the shoulder stuff. So I really like him on the vertical routes. And then overall, like I said, he just has to improve his mechanics. I think he's a young quarterback that's still learning. And I think he needs to improve his situational decision making. Again, he won't force bad passes most of the time, but there's a lot of third downs and, 2-minute drills and things like that where they're throwing behind the sticks or he's trying to scramble around or scramble for yards. He's got to know when and where to do it. And then also in Louisville, a lot of short yardage situations ended up being him running the ball and picking up those yards. And that was kind of their default. So I think he's got to learn. I don't see an NFL team doing that with him. And so I think he's definitely got to learn those third down conversion plays. And if it's not the run game. So, but he is a gamer. He's a Heisman winner. Again, he loves football. He got a lot better. He's competitive. We've seen that. And I think he does really care about getting better at this game. And then the only other thing I'll say about him is if you notice, he lobs the ball too much. He lets it float. There's times when you want to do that, definitely on deeper passes post, so you could get it ahead. Maybe even sometimes when someone's going to the sideline, but I think he does a little too much. I say he takes the gas off his pass. Excuse me. He takes the gas off his passes instead of driving them, with some velocity. And I think that's him just trying to throw with touch and accuracy. But those are the type of passes that'll get picked off in the next level. So the real question for me is I want to see what type of real velocity he has. I gave him a level 4 arm, but I do want to know what type of velocity he can potentially unlock with better mechanics. So that's one question we'll have to see in this offseason. All right, so going down to Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, man, a wildcat. As they say, they remind him of Brett Favre, Johnny Manziel, all that good stuff. So we know he can run. I think he's really mobile. We know he ran a lot for the team. Now, Baker comes down to his mechanics. I'm not sure who's coaching him or what he's doing, but with Baker, I've seen so many different throwing styles from him. His mechanics and his technique have been all over the place. I'm talking about he's getting his arm vertical to 90. Sometimes I've seen it where it's complete sidearm. I've seen him do the chop and wind up motion. I've seen him do the sidearm motion or wind up motion. I've seen so many different things from him. I don't know even what to call it, but I think majority of the time he is throwing with a slight sidearm, more of an obtuse angle, which is not what you want. You want your arm to be vertical, bicep to the ear, as they say. And as far as his lower body mechanics, they're no different. There's times when he tries to throw with torque, bring his leg through, and he just absolutely throws his leg through way too much. There's times when he doesn't. He just stands flat and throws. There's time when he lifts his foot up and throws. There's so many different mechanics going on from game to game that it kind of worries me, to be honest. But in the pocket, he keeps his feet buzzing like you want. He's ready to move. He's elusive, of course, kind of a hard guy to take down, and he's pretty quick. But I think his awareness isn't that great. I think he locks down his eyes downfield too much and doesn't sense pressure very well and has gotten sacked a lot because of it. And I don't think he manipulates the pocket well. I think he escapes kind of like these other guys. They escape out the pocket, extend the play, instead of stepping up into the open space and making a throw. So he's no different than them. But of course, he's tough. He'll stay in the pocket and throw against a hit when he needs to. But he's a great thrower on the run, has a lot of velocity when he throws on the run. And again, I think he can get through his progression. And with Baker, there's a little bit of both. He'll run around into somebody's open, but he also gets through his progression. And there's a lot of times where he makes a read pre-snap, where he knows who's going to be open by the play design and by the way the defense lines up. And he makes really quick, smart decisions right when the ball is snapped. So Baker has shown that ability, and that is important to note, that you want to get to that point where you can read the defense and know exactly who's going to be open. I liked his accuracy in the short to medium game. Thought it was really strong. But his deep balls, I didn't like. They were good, but there's a lot of underthrowing, a lot of that due to his mechanics, and a lot of that due to just some of his poor accuracy. His deep ball just was not as strong as the medium stuff. And then overall, I think with Baker, and I'm curious to continue to watch this, is that I gave him a level 4 arm. I think he doesn't throw with the type of velocity you believe he has, and some of that can be mechanics, but he's still very accurate with his numbers. So people say this is one of the best or one of the most accurate quarterbacks. How can you say he doesn't have velocity? Can't you see him throwing these guys open? And he does. I will give him credit. He, against man coverage and other things, he gets guys on the mark. I think that is because he throws with great anticipation. And that's another trait of a quarterback that is high level stuff that you want to see. Anticipation, of course. Instead of waiting till the guy's open to throw it, you're throwing it to the spot where he's going to be, not where he's at. And that takes some accuracy, but it does take timing. And I think Baker's timing is a lot better than his accuracy, if that makes sense. So he's getting the ball out early where the person is supposed to be, and then they're able to run onto it. And so it does take some accuracy, but at the same time, it doesn't. It depends. It's a skill because really you're just throwing to a spot and you're letting the receiver come get it. And so, yes, you got to be able to put that on the spot. But I think that's easier than when you're throwing to a receiver, because what happens is you get locked on a receiver and you're throwing it when you see him. But of course, by the time the ball gets there, the ball's behind them because they're already way past where you were looking at. And we see that a lot of balls being thrown behind. And that's just, the optics of it. That can trick you. I think when you're just throwing to an open space, it's a lot easier to just put it there and then let a receiver come get it. So I'm not trying to knock him. I do think in the NFL it's going to be a lot tighter windows, so I'm not sure how well he can do that without improving his velocity some and improving his overall accuracy. So, but I do like Baker Mayfield. So those are the three quarterbacks. If I had to make a choice between, or, rank the three or whatever, it's really tough because you got some raw people. So I think I would go Baker Mayfield first, Josh Allen, and then Lamar Jackson. Because Lamar, his build, I'm worried about his longevity, his durability. And then, of course, he's raw. But Josh Allen is just as raw, if not more raw. But he's built. And he has an elite arm. So I go Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. All right, so that is the second round of quarterbacks. We got one more round of quarterbacks coming. That'll be the last one. Then we'll be heading over to running back. So anyway, go to the comment section. Let me know what you think. What do you think about these quarterbacks? Do you have a preference between the three? Comment, thumbs up, subscribe, share it around to all your friends so we can grow the channel. And thank you guys for listening.